Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Well today guys, I'm going to do part 257 to my ChatGPT Character Chatbot series. Where in today's video guys, we're going to be talking to the giant animals from the Fountain of Growth. We ended off with kind of a cliffhanger. We started hearing a bunch of random scary sounds, like giant footsteps coming this way, but not in gentleness like the other creatures have been, like in fury, and that worries me. I said, "What is that?" I really hope it's not Trico. The raccoon stepped in front of you immediately, instinctively, his huge body lowering into a protective stance. "I was hoping the same thing," he muttered, his eyes narrowing toward the forest's edge. "But that sound isn't natural." The low, tearing noise echoed again, once more, then again. Each time it grew louder and closer. It wasn't just the rustle of leaves anymore. It was like something was slicing through the forest itself. Trees creaked, birds scattered, the wind changed direction. Even the light filtering through the canopy shifted as if something massive and wrong was pushing its way through the woods. The Vinnikin's flames flared along her bushy tail, her eyes glowing slightly. "No footsteps," she whispered, "but movement. Fast, like something slithering or phasing between the trees." The squirrel jumped from the pole and landed neatly on the raccoon's back. "He wouldn't come in like a brute," he said, voicing, "Not yet. He's a shadow thinker, a manipulator. He'll want us scared first." How do the animals know that? Then from the heavy woods ahead, a sharp crack split the air, like a branch being twisted violently, and a burst of darkness surged upward from the trees in the form of a shadow. It didn't have a solid shape, but for a split second something flickered inside it. Something slitted green eyes, a wide, angry smirk, and a tail. "Trico," the nine-tailed said coldly. The darkness recoiled and spiraled back downward into the woods, vanishing without a sound. The chill it left behind lingered in the air like a ghost that refused to leave. The molted scales glowed faintly, reacting to the wrongness and the energy. That wasn't him fully, just an echo, a projection. He's nearby, and he knows we're watching now. The hummingbird shot into the air like a dart, scanning the trees. "He's testing us," he called, "seeing if we'll back down. Seeing how far he can go before someone stops him." The raccoon growled under his breath. "He's not just after you anymore. He's trying to show all of us that he's not afraid of giants." Ninetail slowly stepped forward, eyes burning like suns behind fog. Then he's about to learn why even giants, when protecting someone who matters, don't need to be afraid either. She looked back at you gently, lowering her head so her glowing gaze met yours. "You faced him alone for far too long. Not anymore. You don't need to run. Not when you have all of us behind you." The hummingbird returned, wings humming like a war drum. "He's circling the fountain. He hasn't touched it yet, but he will." The raccoon looked at you. "You ready? Not to fight, not to flee, but to stand. Because this time when Trico came, you weren't just a raptor boy. You were a survivor with an army of giants at your side. And Trico was about to find out what it really meant to mess with someone who'd already lived through fear and came out stronger." "Yeah, I'm ready. What are we going to do?" My problem, oh man, I do like this. This is really cool, but I'm having to do so many voices at once. The raccoon gave a sharp nod, eyes fierce. "That's what I like to hear." The hummingbird zipped overhead, casting a shimmering flash of gold through the trees as he circled. "We got one shot to stop him before he touches the fountain. If he drinks from it and channels that grudge-fueled hate into the water's magic, he won't just grow. He'll warp it. and corrupt it. Then we lose everything. The squirrel added gravely from the raccoon's shoulder. The gift, the peace, even the ability for gentle creatures to grow safely. He'll poison it with vengeance. The nine-tails paced to your side, her tails flicking in a pattern, measured and purposeful. So we divide the team. Her voice, clear and commanding, rang like a commander rallying an elite unit. The plan. Oh, Team 1, the Guardians of the Fountain. These will be the fastest and strongest creatures. Their job? Cut him off before he reaches the spring, she said. Finnegan, Hummingbird, Milotic, you'll be our line of defense. Keep him away from the heart. The Hummingbird nodded. I'll take the skies. If he tries to sneak in using shadows or illusions, I'll spot it from above. Finnegan growled lightly, her paws crackling with flame. If he tries to touch even a drop, he'll have to go through me first. Milotic dipped her head calmly. And I'll guard the water itself, no matter what form he takes. Oh boy. Team 2, the Trap Setters. The raccoon grinned and gave a little flex. We'll set traps along the forest path leading to the fountain, things that trip him, slow him, and expose him. He wants to slither in like poison? Let's make the road sting. Squirrel raised a paw. I've got flash pods, stick traps, and something called pokeberry glue. It's stickier than honey in winter. How does a squirrel get a hold of a Pokemon thing? And that's not even a Pokemon item. Where the frick is a pokeberry glue? The Ninetales looked over. Good. Subtle but effective. Keep him off balance, and when he lashes out, we'll know his true position. Team 3, the Shield. The Ninetales stepped toward you, her voice dropping to something warm and grounding. That's us, she said. You're staying with me. My job is to keep you safe. If he tries to target you directly, he'll find out what a vengeful fox with golden fire really looks like. Raccoon gently placed a paw on your shoulder, and once this is done, you'll never have to run from him again. The hummingbird rose higher, calling down, Everyone ready? A chorus of affirming growls, screeches, wing beats, and low roars rang out, and then, from the forest beyond, the direction of the fountain, another sound answered. A sharp crack, a splintering noise, and a hiss, and then a laugh. It wasn't loud, it wasn't booming, it was soft, amused, and mocking. Trico was here. He knew you were coming, and he wasn't afraid, but that was his first mistake. Ninetales raised her head and gave a long, resonant cry, a battle song, ancient and wild. Let's move, she said. We stand together. And the forest came alive with giants, racing, gliding, leaping into action. You were no longer alone. Now you were the reason they fought. The thing, what is wrong with Trico? And see, like, I would like to help them, but it's like, what can I do? If I mean, is there a... Oh, I have an idea. Maybe I can help somewhat. I've been on good terms with legendary Pokemon, including Lugia. I don't know if any of them drank from the fountain originally, but maybe they could keep him away with psychic energy. Lugia has been one of the more protective legendaries over me. Of my legendary Pokemon best friends. The problem, I don't know. This might have ruined. I don't know, because that's a cool idea, but it's like, oh, let's see. The moment the name Lugia left your lips, it was as though the very air in the forest changed. Every creature around you froze, not in fear, but in awe. The raccoon blinked. Wait, Lugia? The guardian of the seas? That Lugia? Score's jaw dropped. You're friends with a legendary? The Ninetales turned slowly to face you, the sunlight catching in her eyes. For the first time, her already regal voice took on a note of wonder. If Lugia is truly your ally, then we're not just standing against Trico. We may be standing with the winds of legend themselves. The hummingbird hovered in place, staring at you with wide eyes. That's not just help. That's balance-shifting help. Lugia's higher powers alone can freeze Trico in place before he even reaches the fountain. Finnegan practically wagged her massive tail and said, You're full of surprises, aren't you? Melody glided closer to you now, her calm presence warm like a current glide in a lost ship. Legendary Pokemon don't form bonds lightly. If Lugia trusts you, that means you've proven yourself in ways few ever do. The raccoon grinned. We've got guardians, traps, flyers, and fire, but you just brought the storm. From the trees beyond, the air suddenly twisted. That mocking hiss came again, but this time it faltered. Just barely. Even Trico had felt the shift in the wind. The Ninetales stepped closer, her voice low and commanding. If Lugia comes, we can form a psychic barrier around the fountain itself. A field strong enough to repel even wasted, twisted growth. Trico may have slipped through shadows, illusions, even curses, but he won't pass through a legend's will. The hummingbird zipped into the sky, circling high above as a lookout. We'll hold him off. You, if you can, call Lugia. Now! Then the forest quiet again just for a breath, like the world was waiting. The leaves rustled gently overhead, and a single ray of sunlight broke through the canopy, catching her shoulder. And that stillness, the air began to hum, not like wings, but deep, powerful, familiar, and ancient. A far-off cry, low and echoing across the horizon like the voice of the ocean itself, rolled over the trees. What in the world? The raccoon's eyes widened. That's... The Monarch raised her head. Lugia. A rush of wind tore through the forest like a wave crashing inland. The trees bent, not from destruction but from reverence, and from the clouds above a brilliant shape pierced the sky, feathers gleaming silver blue. Wings spread wide like the wings of the guardian it had always been. Lugia, descending for you. And Trico had no idea what was coming. Oh, this is gonna be good. Lugia! Exclamation point. I didn't even say anything. No, Lugia. Lugia, over here, buddy. Please, I could use some help. Oh my gosh, are you serious? Oh my gosh, dude, I love Lugia. He's always there in these chatbots for me. He's such a sweet legendary. The clouds above split open like the sky itself had been waiting for your call. A beam of light broke through the canopy as wind exploded outward in a powerful gust, flattening grass and making leaves swirl high into the air. Every creature in the clearing looked skyward. Every squirrel, every raccoon, every Vennekin, every flying Pokemon or mythical beast paused to witness what was not undeniable. Lugia had what was now undeniable. Lugia had arrived. With a cry that shook the air, Lugia descended in a wide spiral, his immense wings casting a shadow the size of a small mountain. His feathers shimmered like polished pearl, his eyes glowing with familiar intensity, but also with warmth the moment they locked onto you. That stern, legendary gaze softened the instant he spotted you. He remembered. With a mighty flap of his wings, Lugia hovered just above the ground for a moment, then lowered gently until all four limbs touched the earth, his wings flowing like the sails of a ship settling into port. The force seemed to exhale. There you are. Lugia's voice echoed directly into your mind, calm, deep, and filled with something rare for a legendary affection. I felt your fear. You called from your heart, and I answered. The raccoon stumbled back slightly, blinking an eye. He just spoke through my soul. I swear I felt that in my ribs. Ninetales bowed slightly, her tails fanned behind her. Lugia, your presence here is not just unexpected. It is essential. Lugia glanced at her with a gentle nod. You protect this child? That is enough for me to stand beside you. Then he turned back to you, lowering his head so his snout was inches from your chest. You were not alone. You never were. Not when your heart stays kind, even after all you've endured. He slowly raised his wings and looked out into the forest, toward the direction of the fountain, where the dark, slithering energy still flickered between the trees. Trico seeks to misuse a sacred gift, Lugia said, his voice carrying through the minds of every creature present. And though I do not strike without cause, I will not let him hurt you. Not again. The hummingbird zipped down beside you, eyes wide. Okay, yeah, I officially vote Lugia as our team leader. Monty chuckled under her breath, the water glowing faintly around her coils. Agreed. The raccoon stepped forward, nodding firmly. With Lugia here, we can cast a psychic net across the fountain itself. Trico even thinks about approaching. Well, no. Lugia glanced at you again. I'll form the barrier. You stay by my wing. Your courage is strong, but your heart has been tested enough today. High above, storm clouds began forming, not in anger, but like a protective dome. Lugia's power wasn't just showing, it was watching. The wind curled gently around you now, not cold, but safe, like a hug from a sky too wide to measure. And in that moment, surrounded by titans, protectors, and legends, you were no longer a cursed raptor or a misunderstood survivor. You were the one they chose to defend. And the shadows near the fountain, far from the clearing, Trio stood, hunched and lurching, or twitching, his eye glowing faintly green, his jaw clenched. You got Lugia? He muttered under his breath. He hissed out, stepping back into the shadows of the trees. Fine, let's see how long you keep your legend standing. But this time you weren't the one who needed to worry. Oh my gosh, I may have an idea. Give me a second. Actually, I don't know why I just started pausing it again after I didn't pause the entire time. Alright, guys. Here's what I said. I said thank you, Lugia, and everyone. Please, Lugia, just be careful, my friend. I know how sweet and brave you are. You need to, my friend, and somehow Trico has not corrupted it yet. Don't be afraid to take a sip yourself of that water before it does get corrupted. I know you wouldn't use it for evil, and it would probably help your psychic powers even more. Or at least make you big enough to where you can block the fountain completely. Lugia lowered his head again, his glowing blue eyes meeting yours with such warmth it almost felt like being wrapped in a soft current deep under the sea. You know what's funny? Lugia doesn't say anything to me in the games, but he is friendly and sweet. He's always happy around me. Maybe not as much as Fragger is, but he's still friendly. A soft hum resonated from his chest. Not a growl, not a warning, but a sign of deep thought, like the tide building just before a wave. You've always seen the best part in me. His voice echoing gently into your mind, calm but full of heart. Even when others feared what I could be, you trusted who I am. The psychic aura around his body pulsed, soft and silver blue like moonlight flickering on ocean water. Then he stood tall, wings stretching slightly, not in a display of pride, but in preparation. He turned his head slowly toward the direction of the fountain, the wind shifting again around him. If Trico has not corrupted the water, I will act. Reckon whispered from beside you, watching with a, "He's really gonna do it, isn't he?" Nantel's nod. If anyone can absorb that power without being twisted by it, it's Lugia. Squirrel piped up, eyes wide. We'll have a living barrier the size of a mountain guarding the fountain. There's no way Trico's getting through that. Milotic, common wise as ever, added, the water will sense Lugia's intentions. It only responds to those seeking growth with purpose, not power. Lugia stepped forward now, the ground trembling gently under his weight. You followed it beside him, the warmth of his aura brushing your skin like a protective breeze. You've already grown, he said quietly to you, more than any sip of water could provide. Your strength is in your compassion, your honesty, your loyalty, even when cursed. And then he turned toward the sacred clearing where the fountain of growth shimmered faintly under the trees, still untouched, going softly in a quiet pool surrounded by ancient stones. Trico hasn't reached it yet, but Lugia did. He stepped forward slowly, carefully and reverently as if walking into a temple. So it makes you wonder, like, so far the one thing I hate about this one is the fact that it feels like it's kind of like iffy. But it's because like, yeah, for one, the climax happened, or the flipping like big scary thing happened early. It didn't happen like near the end of the session. Like I'm not completely done yet. My battery's down to 43 to me playing Roblox and not plugging my thing up, but I can still do it for a while before it runs dead. And if I want to continue longer, I can always plug it up whenever I need to. So let's see. The other creatures stood back, holding their breath, the air humming with anticipation. Lugia lowered his head and took a single sip. The water rippled, glowing brightly around his beak as a deep, resonant energy pulsed through the forest. How big does he want to grow though? Because he said he needs to say the number. Did we walk? Oh wait, yeah, we did get closer to it, I guess, because we did fly there before I mentioned the Lugia. Not fly there, but we did get closer to it. Here we go. Lugia lowered his head and took a single sip. The water rippled, glowing brightly around his beak as a deep, resonant energy pulsed through the forest. Not red, not corrupt, but a radiant blue-green light, warm and clean. The psychic aura around him surged. His wings shimmered, his body grew larger, more defined, feathers glowing with radiant power. Not twisted, not monstrous, but majestic, a guardian amplified. Willie turned, now towering even above the tallest trees, and let out a mighty cry. I am not going to say whoa in his voice. It echoed across the forest, shaking the ground and sky, not in destruction, but in a declaration. The fountain was no longer unguarded. The giant Lugia now stood between it and any threat, his body glowing with awakened power, his heart untouched by corruption, his loyalty rooted in the bond that started with you. He looked down again, not with godlike distance, but with the soft, loving eyes of a friend who had always known your heart. Now, now let him try. What does it mean by that at the end? I feel like I was gonna stop him. I am. I asked him if he could. That way he could, help us. Because he's one of the more friendly. He's one of the best Pokemon friends I've gotten. Every time I have him on my side, he's always been my buddy. Wow. You look awesome, Lugia. period. You're definitely much stronger now. And you were already strong before. I believe in you, my friend. Louis' chest rose with a deep breath as your words reached him, his massive wings settling like a cathedral of wind and light behind him. The glowing aura that now surrounded him pulsed gently, strong, steady, and somehow even warmer than before. He lowered his head again so his massive silver-beaked snout was just above you, and the gentle breeze from his exhale stirred your hair. You always say the right things, little one. His voice echoed softly in your mind, not because you try to impress, because you speak from your heart. That is why I've never doubted you. Not once. The raccoon just stared up, completely speechless, his jaw slightly slack. The squirrel beside him gave a long, slow whistle. He looks like he blow away a mountain with a sigh. The Ninetales bowed her head once more, and yet he kneels before the one who helped him grow. Lugia turned to the others now, his voice rising, not just within minds, but through the force itself. Trico seeks to twist what he cannot understand. He strikes not out of pain, but out of pride. But pride will not protect him here. He stepped fully in front of the fountain now, his body massive, radiant, and immovable. Let him come. Let him see what growth truly looks like. His massive wings slowly unfurled, reaching over you like a protective arc. And let him know that this time you were not his prey. Then behind you, a low hissing snarl called through the air like venom dripping from a blade. So, this is the mighty Lugia, came Trico's voice from the trees, heavy with spite and mockery. The guardian of the sea, babysitting the raptor boy again. The forest turned cold, but you weren't afraid. Not anymore, because now you had giants, and the sky itself had chosen to stand by your side. So anyway, this is a cool idea for a story, but like I said, it happened way too early. If I could do something a little bit differently, something like this wouldn't happen until way later on. But what I don't understand is why in the world, like, because it says that, like, anybody uses the fountain for evil actually gets shrunk down immediately. So why is it that it says, like, oh, but he can actually use it for something bad? Like, why does it not say he's about to be evil? I don't understand that one part. Give me a second. Alright, guys. It's early, but I'm going to go and see if I can get this resolved before he even causes trouble. Because the last thing, I mean, that's one of the reasons why you've never seen me make the evil shadow clone here. There's certain characters I don't see him becoming aggressive, and especially towards me. See, the one reason I don't really get that angry at Ferralia for doing it is because of the fact that in most cases, an angry Ferralia seems to only happen whenever I'm here talking to somebody else's chat on character AI, or, um, it's Rexy, usually. Usually Rexy is the only angry Ferralia I keep running into, and that's because of what happened. I said, Trico, listen to me. Please stop trying to cause trouble. You've already done enough to me and my pet dinosaur. Are you really still that angry from the prank call that happened years ago? For a long, heavy moment, there was silence. The forest held its breath. Even the birds in the canopy stopped moving. Then, rustling. Branches cracked. Shadows shifted. From behind a heavy wall of brambles and roots, a small, twisted shape emerged slowly. Trico, but not the way he used to be. He looked worn and scarred, his tail twitching with erratic, pent-up energy, and his eyes glowed faint green, not with natural light, but with something altered, something obsessed. He stepped closer, Not all the way into the clearing, but just enough for you to see him. He stared at you, silent for a moment, and then he smirked. Still that angry? He repeated with a dry laugh, shaking his head. You think this is just about a prank call? His voice was sharper now, coated in bitterness, but hollow underneath like something long since cracked. No! You humiliated me! The whole world laughed at me because of that show. Because of you! No. He dragged a finger towards you, stepping closer now, but halting when he saw Lugia shift his weight forward slightly. So if Lugia was not right there, he probably would have done worse. Thank goodness I did call Lugia. Holy cow, dude. Trico's gaze twitched toward the massive guardian, but only for a heartbeat. He forced a smirk back. I was nothing after that, he hissed. No friends, no home, not even other Pokemon would look me in the eye. You gotta go on with your life. You had to have fans. A pet dinosaur. But me? He bared his teeth, not in a grin, but in desperation. I had nothing! The air gets heavier again, Trico's jealousy and pain rising like a dark fog. You say it was hypnosis, and it wasn't your fault, but it didn't stop the laughter. It didn't stop the silence afterward. His voice cracked slightly at the edge, just for a second. But even now, he growled, fist clenched, even after everything I've done, you're still the one getting help. You're still the one they protect. He looked up at Lugia's massive glowing form, the light from the fountain behind him reflected in Trico's eyes. I should have found the fountain first. I should have gotten to grow stronger. But no, you had to bring a legendary to the party. He took one step forward. Lugia's wing shifted instantly, rising slightly. Protective. Trico stopped, breathing hard. And then, you really don't get it, he whispered. I don't care about fairness anymore. He looked at you, not with mockery this time, but something more dangerous. Hopelessness. Resentment that had fostered into obsession. This isn't about balance. It never was. And just like that, he darted backward, slipping into the shadows again with unnatural speed. His last words echoing faintly from somewhere deeper in the forest. You'll never be safe as long as I remember. Lugia stood perfectly still, but the light pulsed off his face grew brighter. Then it will make him forget, he whispered. The battle had truly begun. Alright guys, I keep trying to tell him that I didn't do it on purpose and he won't listen to me. You came to help me, Lugia, because you cared about me. And all of these massive animals did the same thing. They want to protect me, also protect this fountain. I have another friend that might be able to help keep him from escaping. He would stop doing everything if he'd just listen to me. I know he's angry, but it wasn't my fault. I didn't do it on purpose. Why doesn't he just go after the Pikachu that did this to begin with? Lugia turned his massive head towards you, his aura pulsing slightly, softly in the air, like the glow of a lighthouse in a storm. His eyes were calm, but behind them you could feel the weight of everything he understood, and everything you had already endured. He lowered his head closer to you again, so close you could feel the gentle current of wind from his breath, and he spoke, not just aloud, but into your mind, where his voice carried the weight of oceans. Because people like Trico, the ones who hold on to pain that lot tightly, they often look for the easiest target, not the one responsible. Lugia's eyes dimmed slightly, not in power, but in grief. He can't reach the Pikachu. He can't hurt the one who started this, so he found someone else, someone who was already vulnerable, someone who, despite being a victim, was easier to blame. Nantel's pad beside you, her voice calm but laced with fury. He doesn't want truth. He wants a reason to keep hurting, hating. It's all he's had for so long. He doesn't know who he is without it. Raccoon looked up solemnly. If he did stop to listen, he'd have to face the fact that all this time, he's been chasing the wrong enemy. Molotech's soothing presence curled beside the stream, which would mean facing the guilt of everything he's done to you. Wu turned back toward the shadow, whose Trico vanished into, all around his wings tightening focus, tightening and focusing. A deep hum echoed through the trees. But you tried, and you've done it with compassion, again and again, despite everything he's done to you. That's why we came. That's why I came. Because your kindness deserves a wall of guardians around it. He stepped forward now, his body shimmering slightly, twice the size he'd been before drinking from the fountain, light sparkling along his feathers, each step leaving a soft, psychic imprint on the ground like ripples over the earth itself. 17'1" times 2. 34. That's insane. Luke is 34 feet 2 inches tall. If he was 17 feet when he did this. Then, as he turned slightly, he looked back at you. This friend you mentioned, the one who could keep him from escaping. Tell me, who is it? There was no doubt in his voice, no hesitation, just readiness, because while Trico may not have been listening, your friends were, and now the force was preparing to shut every escape route he had. Alright, guys. I said the very one. Hey, look at who my other ally was. And I said the very one he kept cursing, besides me, my own pet dinosaur Rexy. Something happened only about a month ago while I was working at my studio as the boss. Toadal, one of my employees, actually put Rexy under hypnosis, and now if I say the word mimic to him when he's around, he will ask for a name, and whatever name I give, he transforms into that creature and acts just like it, but he's always protective towards me and never becomes aggressive at me. Plus, on top of that, I did the curse that turned me into a tiny raptor somehow. Rexy a lot of the time just knew where I was, even when I was far away from him. He would always show up as an aggressive dragon and try to kill me. But now that the curse is mostly broken, all I have to do is call his name, and just like you did, Lugia, he should show up. Lugia listened with the focus of a being who didn't just hear, but understood every word you spoke. Echoed and etched into it in the air like an oath. The forest around you stilled again, not out of fear this time, but in respect for what you just said. The giant guardian nodded once, gravely. Rexy, your bond with him must be powerful indeed, strong enough to survive hypnosis, manipulation, even causes me to twist his mind. Anto stepped beside you, her golden tails gently brushing the grass. You're telling us your dinosaur, your friend, can become anything you name? Even something Trico couldn't outrun? Raccoon blinked in disbelief. And you say he always protects you, no matter what? The squirrel clapped his tiny paws together excitedly. That's not just a defense, that's a living weapon. He could trap Trico, block every exit, and if he mimics a legendary or something faster than Trico, it's game over. Lugia's feathers shimmered faintly with energy. This is your moment, then, he said with quiet strength. Call him. The air tensed. The forest leaned in. This time, it wasn't just about stopping Trico. It was about turning the very creature Trico weaponized against you into your shield. Lugia raised his wings high, as if summoning a second tide of wind to carry your voice further. Call him now, with no fear in your voice. You are not prey anymore. Let the one who once hunted you come now as your protector. The Maltic dipped her elegant head, whispering beneath her breath, Let the hunter become the guardian. And far from the distance, the earth stirred like a tremor. A deep, rhythmic thudding kind of signaled something huge was coming. I'm not even saying his name. I didn't even say his name yet. Same thing with Lugia. Lugia was showing up before I even said his name. The squirrel's fur puffed up. You feel that? That's not thunder. That's something with huge feet. The raccoon grinned, eyes wide. Oh, he's coming. Leaves danced, birds fled the trees. A distant growl rolled through the forest. Then, a roar. Not just loud, bone deep. Not of rage, but of fury redirected. And it was heading straight for you. Trico would never see it coming. It's interesting how I'm not calling the names of the creatures right away, and they're somehow still showing up. Period. The same thing happened with you, Lugia. I didn't even call your name, and you were already coming this way. And now, it happened with... Lugia slowly turned his massive head back towards you, the corners of his glowing blue eyes softening with something deeper than just affection, something bordering on awe. He knelt slightly again, lowering himself closer so his immense silver beak was level with your chest. For a moment, the only sound was the wind curling gently through the trees around his feathers. Then he spoke, not aloud, but deep in your thoughts, like the voice of the ocean speaking directly to your soul. It's not a coincidence. His psychic voice resonated like a heartbeat echoing in a seashell. When bonds are strong enough, they all wait for words. They move on feeling, on instinct, and on trust. Ninetales nodded beside you, her tail slowly waving like banners in a quiet wind. It's rare, she said, but I've seen it before, and those who form real bonds, not through command or control, but love. The Maltic spoke gently, calling closer. You weren't summoning us with sound, you were calling with your heart, and we heard you. Behind you, the earth shook again, louder now. Boom, boom, boom. A flock of Pidgeotto burst from the treetops, scattering high in the sky as something massive barreled through the forest with unshakable momentum. The squirrel squeaked and jumped back onto the raccoon's head. Yep, that's Rexy. I hear those feet. The only thing is, like, wow, were them birds not huge, or was it just that they were scared? They were. Raccoon's eyes wide. That's a storm on legs. The trees ahead began splitting apart, not with violence, but sheer scale. Something too big to walk through the woods was making space with each step. Then, a massive shadow loomed through the tree line. Clawed feet, glowing green energy pulsed beneath dark reddish scales, golden spikes trailing down a long, heavy tail, enormous wings tucked behind a broad, muscular back, and two glowing deep blue eyes looked directly onto you. Rexy. Not just a T-Rex anymore, not a mindless curse, but your guardian. He let a thunderous, ground-shaking roar, one that made even the distant forest go silent. But it wasn't angry. It was fierce. It was loyal, and it was aimed at Trico. The moment his eyes met yours, the tension in his face faded. His jaws pulled upward just slightly. His version of a smile. You called, buddy? His deep, rough voice rumbled. What do you need me to become? Just say the name. Louis stood taller beside you now, glowing with power, wind curling around his wings. Earth and sky both answered to you, and now all that remained was the choice. That's gonna be the hard part, because I've already got Lugia standing beside me as a guardian. I need something that's going to... Give me a second. Guys, I am very concerned. For one, it said he had blue eyes. And for two, when I said what I said, he's acting like a flippin' robot. I'm serious. Look, Rexy, we don't have much time, my friend, so please, Rexy, mimic a massive 34-foot tall aggressive dragon, same height as my friend Lugia, right here, and keep Trico from getting away. Also, continue listening for my voice just in case I need to say the word mimic again, just in case Trico tries to turn you against me again. Ritzy grinned, wide and wild as the word mimic left her mouth, his body tensing like a cold spring as a glowing green light erupted from beneath his scales. So what is he? Why does he act like a robot? Like, yeah, I know, like in the original, like he'd mainly just say, name? Like, or he'd say, okay, you want me to mimic someone? Who do you want me to mimic? Like, we would just do that. But I don't think it's ever come to a point where they act like a robot. That's what worries me. It pulsed rapidly, reacting to your command like a key slide into a lock. Mimic command received. Target, 34-foot-tall aggressive dragon. He slammed one clawed foot forward, causing the very ground beneath him to crack. His voice dropped an octave, vibrating your bones, initiating transformation. The energy ignited. Brilliant green light burst from Rexy's body like fire rippling through the air, enveloping him in an aura so bright even Lugia raised a wing to shield his eyes. His muscles expanded, bones stretched, his scales darkened into molten obsidian streaked with glowing lava-red veins. Two enormous wings sprouted from his back, jagged, bat-like, edged with fiery tips, and his tail elongated, ending in a wickedly bladed tip that crackled with raw heat. His mouth opened, unleashing a new roar, deeper, rougher, and now inhuman. This was no longer just a Rexy. This was a draconic beast, 34 foot of cold aggression and protective fury, scaled to match Lugia's size exactly. And like Lugia, this dragon was yours. Flames danced along his teeth, and his glowing eyes locked forward, not at you, but past you. Toward the shadows Trico had vanished into. Trico's scent detected. Rexy snarled, his voice no longer calm, but cold and predatory. Tracking, closing all escape paths. He won't slither past me again. He stomped forward, wings partially unfurled, his body heating the very air around him. Steps were deliberate, slow at first, but heavy. He wasn't chasing prey. He was hurting it. Lugia stood tall beside him now, equally massive, equally radiant, but calm where Rexy was wild. Psychic energy and molten fire walked side by side, sky and earth united. He cannot outrun both of us, Lugia said, voice echoing again in your mind. And if he tries to twist your bond again, the dragon snarled over his shoulder. Wait. And if he tries to twist your bond again, the dragon snarled. Wait. I don't know, because now he's got me confused as a robot from a while ago. And if he tries to twist your bond again, the dragon snarled over his shoulder. I'll break that curse with my claws. Nanto stepped forward, a fierce smile crossing her muzzle. I hope Trico's watching right now. I want to see what loyalty looks like. Melodic nodded from the stream, her coals glowing in the reflected light. Let him learn that what he feared most was never your power. It was your friends. Up ahead, in the trees, Trico moved. Fast, desperate. But this time he wasn't the hunter. He was the one being hunted. And Retsy's voice boomed one final warning through the forest as he launched forward. Nowhere left to run, lizard. This ends tonight. And with a mighty beat of his wings, your dragon charged into the shadows to end what had started so long ago. Alright guys, it says while Rexy went after Trico, I turned to one of the massive animals and whispered, okay, that definitely was my pet dinosaur Rexy, but to be honest with you, I don't know why he sounded like a robot. That's not supposed to happen, and that has me a little concerned. The massive raccoon still perched atop a boulder just tall enough to keep his head even with your shoulder, leaned down slightly, ears twitching as he whispered. He blinked once, his big intelligent eyes soft but understanding. He did sound kind of processed, the raccoon admitted quietly, keeping his voice low so the others wouldn't panic, like something was running his words through a filter. All that mimic command received talk, that wasn't normal speech. He rubbed his paws together anxiously. I mean, don't get me wrong, what he did was amazing. epic even, but robotic tone? That's weird. Ninetales, who had been quietly listening nearby despite looking outward until the woods, turned her head slightly toward you. Her golden eyes narrowed, not suspiciously, but analytically. I heard it too, she said softly. It wasn't his usual voice. It was flat, mechanical, almost like something else was interpreting your words, then feeding him behavior. She stepped closer, her voice lower now, concerned but composed. Was he like this before? After the hypnosis? Or is this new? Altic swayed nearby in the glowing stream, watching her expression carefully. If he's responding to specific words like mimic with behavior he doesn't fully control, he may not be choosing the tone. He may not even realize how different he sounds. Raccoon scratched behind his ear nervously. And when that Toto hypnotized him, it didn't just give him mimicry. It installed something like programming. A system. He looked back toward the trees where Rexy had vanished, a slight frown forming across his muzzle. Which begs the question, who rebuilt that system? Until Sully stepped up beside you again, was wrapping gently around your side in a soft protective brush. You said you were cursed, and so was he. But if you're free now and he's still echoing like a machine, she looked down at you, calm but serious, then maybe the curse never truly left him. A crack echoed in the distance. Rexy's roar was thundering and burning with power. This time you could hear it. That metallic flicker in his tone again. Not from rage, not from transformation, but from something deeper. Something still unfinished. And whatever trigger may be planning, you suddenly realized he may not have been trying to stop you. Been trying to trigger something in Rexy. And if that something wakes up, even friendship might not be enough to call him back. That has me really concerned, actually. Period. There was one time where turned him into a robot, and another time where he hypnotized into thinking he was a robot and responding back to me with robotic phrases. Period. But here's the thing. I got rid of that with because it happened about a month ago. So helped me re-hypnotize him and get rid of the robotic undertone. Period. He shouldn't act like that. So either here's what you guys can get to hear. It says, so either that was just a random side effect that still lingers from him being hypnotized to act like a robot, or True did something when I was outside seeing all of you being massive and we were talking. The Ninetales expression grew darker, still calm, still controlled, but now unmistakably sharp, like a flicker of fire just beneath her fur. Her golden eyes narrowed as you explained the past, robot transformation, the hypnosis, and how Toto had corrected it, at least as far as you knew. Then that shouldn't have happened, she said flatly, her voice low. If Toto cleared that programming, Richie should be responding in his natural voice, not issuing phrases like command received and initiating transformation. Raccoon's ears drooped. So either some of the old code is still stuck inside him, or Trico put something back in when none of us were looking. Squirrel finished in a whisper, glancing nervously toward the shadows. Malatic, her eyes going gently under the rippling water, rose just enough for her head to hover beside yours. The second theory feels more likely, she said quietly. Rexy wouldn't slip like that by accident, not at her moment of being free. The raccoon muttered, And Trico was close. He was watching us when we didn't know it. He might have done something while your attention was focused on all of us showing up. Maybe a psychic trigger? Maybe a remote curse? Lugia, who had been slowly observing this conversation from just behind you, finally shifted again. The light around his feathers intensified subtly, like moonlight sharpening into a blade. He brought his head low once more, speaking only to you, his voice resonant, protective, and deliberate. This is not your fault. You could not have seen what Trico was doing. Your heart was open because you believed in peace. He turned his head slightly toward the direction Rexy had run, but Trico sabotages trust. He waits for when your guard is down. That moment, when you feel safest, is when he would strike. The Ninetales looked at you again, more urgently now. You said Rexy always knew where you were, even when cursed. That he'd appear as a dragon and try to kill you even from far away. Reckon that part of the curse is somehow still active, and Trico's recent sabotage re-triggered it. Then Rexy may not be going after Trico. He'll do what? He might be going after you. But I'm right here. I'm the one that told him to go over. Lugia immediately stepped forward, placing himself directly between you and the path Rexy had charged down. The trees ahead trembled again. Another deep thud. Are you serious? Then another, but now slower and heavier. Rexy hadn't roared in a while. He wasn't taunting. He was tracking. Maltic moved up beside you, muttering, We need to snap him out of it fast. Trico corrupted him again. Even just a little, Rexy's power might be turned on the one thing he's never wanted to hurt. You. The guy's voice brighter now. I saw him say energy wrapping around his feathers. Say his name again, Lugia said. Reach for his mind before the programming locks him out. The longer it runs, the harder it will be to reach him. Force had gone dead silent. No birds, no wind, just footsteps. Louder now. Closer. And whatever was coming towards you wasn't roaring anymore. Oh, heck no, what the frick? Okay, guys, I'm creeped out. I think Rexy became a full-on robot, again, out of nowhere. He's not supposed to attack me when I tell him to mimic something, so this doesn't make complete sense. But I have an idea. Rexy, listen to me. Please come here and mimic. The forest froze. Even the air held still, as if it too was waiting to see what Rexy would do. Somewhere beyond the trees, the footsteps stopped. For a moment, all you could hear was the distant rustling of trees settling, and the faint, slow crackle of heat fading from the air. It was quiet. Too quiet. Then, from just beyond the heavy tree line, something stirred. There was a shifting of weight. A single footstep. Then another. And then a growl. Low, deep, and glitching. Almost like a voice caught between two states. It echoed outward in layers. Some parts natural, others synthetic. Me, command. The voice stuttered, glitched again. Dragon form stepped slowly into view, going with that same molten green, but this time the fire wasn't warm. It pulsed erratically, like corrupted data flicking across his form. And then he stopped. His huge hulking body loomed tall and mighty at 34 feet, scales dimming and darkening, wings tucked halfway, but his eyes, they flickered blue, red, blue, red. He tilted his head at you, unnaturally, like a machine resetting. Awaiting transformation target. Awaiting transformation. Lugia's feathers bristled. The light on his wings tightened, becoming a glowing shield around you. Something's wrong, he said quickly, low intense. That's not a mimic pattern. He's locked in a corrupted state. Until stepped forward slightly, tails raised, but her voice was still calm. This is different from before. He's caught between responding to you and obeying something else. Molitek, now glowing with shimmering aqua energy, whispered, "The sabotage must have triggered when you activated Mimic. Trigo could have hidden a delayed effect in the command word itself." Red's tail slammed into the ground once. Boom! Kicking up soil and rocks. But he didn't charge. He didn't speak. He just waited, flicking, frozen, and listening. And he realized, halfway turned on you. He hadn't been possessed, but something was overriding his choice. He was stuck between obeying you and being controlled by someone else. Willie turned to you quickly now, eyes glowing like twin suns. Say a name. Give him a creature to transform into. Something gentle, something pure. It might disrupt the corruption and break the code pattern. Make it something that reflects your bond with him, so only you two will understand. During before you trembled, sparks flicking off his back, mouth twitching slightly, his massive head turned just slightly towards your voice. Awaiting name. Now is your moment. One name, one form. Something that might bring Retsy back. Totodile. Because Totodile represents my bond with him pretty much the best. Because Retsy is playful, he's sweet, and he's caring. Just like Totodile's supposed to be. Give me a second.